guys. Okay, welcome to Spit and Fire with Racheal Blaze. Here with my co-host,
Desk in the
Tarzan.
room. Oh, well, there you go.
Tarzan. That's his
the
nickname.
nickname.
So we had a little technical difficulty. This is why I didn't want to do this, because I really don't know what the hell I'm doing as far as all the technical stuff behind it. So the Rodecaster Pro is super easy for regular people to use, but for somebody who isn't aware of how it works, it wasn't working. So I've got a great show for you guys tonight, and some super amazing guests. God, I am so nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
We were work one way or another,
right? And if you guys didn't know, Tarzan is my son. So he decided he's the bodybuilder guy, and he might be a little shy. Are you going to be shy tonight, Dustin?
Depends on what we're talking about.
Oh, well, we're going to be talking about guns, girls, tactical stuff, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
That doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, I think you will like it a lot. Sorry, I just kicked myself. So we had a great workout this morning at B Fitness in Oswego. How was your workout?
I thought I could have been better, considering the other guy who was doing legs. It seems as though my workout was very babyish. Babyish.
Yeah. It was very babyish, you guys.
Compared to Adam McAfee's workout.
I'm... Uh-oh. So, oh my God, Dustin. What? So at 6:35, we're going to have our first guest. And let me tell you, she's a badass. She speaks her mind. She has a lot to say tonight. And yeah, it's going to get interesting. And then our next guest after that, we'll have him on for about an hour. He's another badass. Y'all don't want to mess with this guy at all. So, but yeah, that's how it is. This is the first show. I'm Racheal Blaze. I've been in the business for a little while now, and a little over 10 years. And then I had to take a small little break because I was sick, but I'm back thanks to Steven, who contacted me and said, Racheal, I need you to come back to me. No, I'm just kidding. Steve didn't say that, but he did say, it's time for you to come back. I've got a great platform. Let's get you on and get you going. So I procrastinated a little bit. I'm not going to lie. And the reason why I did was because I was a little nervous about how my face would act. As you guys know, I have some leftover remnants from some of the illness I have. So it's going to take about 5 years for it to get completely better. So I'm a little self-conscious about my face sometimes. And here I am, ready to go on a Friday night with my son, Tarzan. Oh. Sometimes at the gym they call him Baby Jesus, but we'll just leave that alone. He doesn't like it.
I've never not once been called that.
He has. My poll read. Okay, you guys have to bear with me, okay? We had some technical difficulties, and now this is my first day, so I don't even know how A2D radio works. So here it is. I do have a poll question. Should female athletes be allowed to compete with breast implants? Agree or disagree? Would love to know your answer. As you know, lots of women who enter big time in the big leagues like UFC or Bellator, I'd have to say a nice portion of them do get breast implants. Well, I'd like to know your answer if you think that female athletes should be allowed to compete with breast implants. I personally, I don't think they should, but that's a whole story and another day that I'll talk about that I went through personally with breast implants. What do you think? What do you think, Dustin?
I think it's up to the person, the individual. The best thing is letting them, giving them the information to let them know the risks and side effects and what could possibly happen if you do get them. So, not saying for anybody to do whatever they want to do, or I mean that we're telling you to do something. Just it's always a good idea to put the risks and all the drawbacks to everything you do in life.
All right. It's almost time for our guest. Her name, excuse me. Excuse me. This is going to be terrible.
Take like 3 seconds.
Welcome is it time yet? Steve, is it time yet? Just can't. This is terrible. I'm so sorry. You would disagree. Thanks, Thomas. I appreciate that. And, yeah, why not? Okay. Dave says, why not? Okay. If we had a little bit more time, agree to the poll simply because I believe it's their choice. I know there are risks, though. Just got to make sure you know those risks.
Exactly.
That was from Michael. Thank you, Michael. Let's see. Not sure. I'm so not sure how this works here, Steve. Help me out. Text me.
What's the next subject? This is great. So, in other news.
Okay. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm really sorry. What threw me off was that we had some technical difficulties, so now I'm not quite sure. I'm a little thrown off. I guess this is how it works in business, huh? Be prepared for the unexpected, right, Dustin?
Oh, I'm never prepared for the unexpected. There's no way to prepare for that.
So, in other news, okay. So. I guess I have a little time to talk. So let me talk about breast implants. They are made of 40 carcinogenic ingredients, chemicals that are leached in the body within 24 hours of implantation into a woman's chest. These days it can be a man's chest. So I don't want to be discriminatory. Breast implants are they're just toxic. So I went through 8 years of hell, 22 doctors later, and no one could figure out what was going on with me. So Dustin definitely witnessed what I went through for the last 8 years. Thank God I was able to get to the surgery and to have them removed. It's interesting because I feel that within the first year I had symptoms, but I couldn't correlate the symptoms to my breast implants because I was not properly informed about them or even the 40 ingredients that they are made up. So it doesn't even matter if it's silicone filled or if it's saline filled. The shell itself is it's still the same. Either way you go around it. It depends on if you want silicone to leach into your system, which the majority of women have a rupture. And my fear is when an athlete steps into the cage or the ring and accidentally gets punched in the chest or gets, in a position on the ground and, oops, it doesn't take very much to pop these things. And you could have a slow leak and not even know it, and years will go by and tests will go by and you have no idea that this has happened. Lots of people like Kat. Kat just had hers removed and shared her story publicly. Thank you, Kat, for doing that. when I first joined the group that's on Facebook, there were only 35,000 women. Now there are close to 1 million sick women, all with breast implant illness. That's what they call it. And so now that the FDA, they now have given breast implants the highest warning, which is the black box warning, before they actually take them off the market. So in order to have that labeling, there must be some serious side effects with breast implants for them to even be able to label them that way. They already have recalled several of the allergen silicone filled the implants themselves. So those are still not back on the market. But as long as you guys are aware of the causes and the effects, and unfortunately, the plastic surgeons are not forthcoming with that information, and neither are the breast implant companies. They're just not informing those who are interested or wanting to have the surgery to have them done. And that's where it goes wrong. What do you think, Dustin?
I think that they didn't really want to get their hands, in this in the beginning, because you had to like fight for them to acknowledge the fact that this could be a potential problem, and the fact that they didn't want to acknowledge it for so long was kind of mind-boggling. That nobody's made like a connection or a study or anything to even remotely say, oh, this might have potential side effects to it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, sitting in bed, debilitated, and having no life in your body, and watching the color of your skin turn gray to the point where you turn into a zombie. It's hard for your family members to watch that. I don't know, how did you react when we finally figured out what was causing me to near death? I mean, they weren't even sure that I would even make it through the surgery.
Oh, it's kind of a tough question. Before the surgery, I thought that you were really, really crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was all in your head. You're psychosomatic. But then as time progressed and things, we found out that you had a leak, and then I'm like, okay, well, there might be something to it. And then when you finally went in for surgery and had them taken out, then maybe like a month or so afterwards, you started rebounding, and she had way more energy than I cared for. So she started getting way better, way faster than I thought, and it all turned out to be from the implants. And I believe there's like two different types. And
Yeah, there's the silicone, the saline, and now there's like the gummy bear ones, the teardrop ones, the round ones, the big ones, the high profile ones. Yeah, the Dolly Parton ones.
And you said you had the saline or
I had the saline.
Okay.
And mine was a slow leak. So I actually still had saline still in the shell. When he went to remove them, the scar capsule has to come out with the implant. And the reason why is because the implants unfortunately cause a it's not so rare anymore, but it causes several different types of lymphoma cancers. And if you don't properly remove the scar capsule, what happens is that woman will still they'll still be sick. And if you don't remove those correctly, they're just going to stay sick. And so it's always important to remove the scar capsule. So when he went in to remove my scar capsule, the capsule had grown into several muscles in between the rib cage. So if you can imagine the rib cage and then the muscle, so it was growing into the muscle. And so he had to cut the muscle, and he literally had to scrape the capsule from my rib cage because it had grown into those areas. And he said it was the worst he had seen with removal. And so my surgery I had some complications, and my surgery took a little bit longer. And thank God I had a really, really good plastic surgeon. He did muscle repair. The muscle tissue is never going to be the same. So if you're getting them under the muscle, know that the muscle tissue is not going to be the same after removing them compared to if you had not had implants at all. And that's the seriousness. And so if you're an athlete and you decide that you want to have them removed and you have them under the muscle, those are some of the complications that can happen from breast implants. And it can prevent you from being at your best, your full potential as an athlete. Hi, David. I see you. Stephen asks, what would you say would be the overall effect long term? Well, I know several women who've had their implants for longer than 10 years, 20 years. And I mean, they were told that they were lifetime devices, meaning that you did not have to have the surgery to have them removed after 10, years. When all the women got together, went to Washington to fight with the FDA about the breast implants and the complications, they released that Allergan and some of these breast implant companies did not complete the studies. And if you had any adverse effects, if you're a woman who had breast implants and you were having any type of complications with them, you were dropped from the studies. These companies did not even complete the studies, but the FDA approved them anyway. And so nobody's taking the blame for it. So their FDA says you did it. And then the breast implant companies are saying, no, FDA, you approved it. It's your fault because you didn't follow through. It's within 24 hours. In that meeting, 24 hours after a woman has the breast implants installed, they are leaching chemicals into your system. So we're talking about things like formaldehyde, proxy. I could go on. There's long lists of things I can't even pronounce, to be honest with you. They're chemicals that don't belong in your body. You weren't born with them. So your body's going to eventually react to them. So it's not a matter of now, it's a matter of when. I don't feel the effects. I don't feel sick. But then it's a matter of thinking, when is the possibility? And I have to tell you, as a woman who likes to lift weights, laying on your stomach with bubbles in your chest, you also run the complication of popping or rupturing your implant when you're lifting heavy weights. And it was always very difficult for me to lift the weights properly with breast implants. And that's just my own experience. Some other women don't have that experience. I have some women that say, oh, no, I don't. I have no effects like that. Mine are fine. And I was that way in the beginning too. I was in denial and I said, no, my implants are great. I paid for them. They're mine. They're FDA approved. They wouldn't allow those to be in women's body if they cause this type of reaction. And so they need to continue the studies. They need to acknowledge the fact that women are getting sick and it's bad. And you're right, Joey. Don't ever trust the FDA. The FDA is not a trustworthy organization. And you just look at vaccines and you look at our medications and they rush to quickly get them approved to put them on the market. It's a $1 billion industry. It's meant to keep you sick. It's meant to make you feel dependent on the system and dependent on the doctors to assist you with your illnesses. It's a $1 billion industry. Everybody makes money, especially big pharma. I was on 22 medications. I had asthma in my life. I had a little bit of eczema on my skin, not very bad. And I had creams and I had, an inhaler that I barely used because I was at 117 pounds. So I didn't really feel the need to use my inhaler. But then when I had my implants, everything just started going south. And I was young. I was athletic. I was full of energy and active. And for it to be the way it ended up, it was just it was unbelievable. And then finally had to face the facts that it was my breast implants, because 22 specialists and several different, and we're not talking just a specialist. We're talking about the top of the specialists, the directors of the departments, who couldn't figure out why I was having so many issues or why I was so sick. None of them could figure it out. And that's my message to the women out there. That is not something that you want to experience. I would never wish this on my worst enemy. I don't even have an enemy, but I would definitely not want another woman to go through it. It's not worth it. They were fun in the beginning, and then they were exciting because they filled your bra. And, especially after you've had kids, you want your breasts to be full of fullness and fluffiness. And well, let's face it, we're not designed that way. Nobody's bodies are designed that way. We have flaws. Things are going to happen after you have kids. And, I think the best thing I should have done was just gotten a lift. Those would have made them fluffy and perky and fun. So I would never recommend a breast implant. So if anybody were to ask me, I would say absolutely not. So that would be my advice to most women, and especially for athletes. You have too much to lose being sick, and there's just not enough informative information for women out there, except for people like me or other people who have had breast implants who talk about it in organizations. I started the Midwest chapter for breast implant illness. I did a support group on Facebook for families, husbands, boyfriends, everybody who wanted to learn about breast implant illness, because the families were in denial as well. So it's not just the individual, it's the families. And then if you have children, it's the children who suffer the most, because they see their mom who is dying. And it's just not something I would want my kids to see. And unfortunately, my son did. Oh, what do I say to the combat sports fighters who continue to compete with them? I would be extremely cautious. If you start feeling weak, you don't feel yourself, or you're moody, or you're not lifting enough, or you're just not who you were before the breast implants physically, your capabilities are impaired, I would definitely pay attention to those signs. And before it gets worse, I would take them out. If I had known what I knew early on, I would have taken them out right away. If I knew that that's what I was reacting to before my situation got worse and my health got bad, I would have taken them out right away. And unfortunately, I wasn't told. I wasn't informed about the ingredients. I wasn't informed about the implants itself. So I was not able to make an informed decision. I could Google all day long about breast implants and saline safer and silicone's bad, because they were recalled at one time and now they're back on the market. It's a lot of misinformation, disinformation, and a lot of, there's no truth to it. There's no truth, real transparency to it. And so those who are athletes, ladies, they're fun. I get it. And I totally understand. And sex sells, and men gravitate to that. And I have to say, guys, ease up on it a little bit, because there's a little bit more to a woman than just the breast size and the way she looks. And I know there are some women or some men out there who don't think about just breast, or who are looking at just the breast instead of, I would rather be acknowledged as an athlete instead of like the pretty face with big boobs. And I have to be real. Rachael Blaze was the pretty face with big boobs in the industry. And it sucked. It really sucked, because I'm like, there's a lot more to Rachael Blaze than her breasts. This is interesting to talk about this with my son, but he's 24, so he's probably like, enough of the boob language, mom. But he's 24 and he can understand. So, but that's what I would suggest for females is to really pay attention, make sure, watch the signs, and if you're not at your 100%, I would definitely consider having them taken out and just having a lift or reconstruction to the breast to make them look the way you want them to look. And honestly, we are our worst enemy. Just like me wanting to come on the show and do it, I'm my worst enemy. I'm like, I can't do it. My face is terrible. We women critique ourselves way too much. And I think that we need to stop that. I think we're getting into a world where, it's causing more harm than good to critique ourselves the way that we do. And it's interesting because most of the people have said to me, I don't see you that way, Racheal. And I see who you are and see your heart. And, women, you got to see your heart. You got to see who you are as an individual, and breasts don't make you. Breasts are not you. They're fun. They look good. But honestly, I look at all the old pictures of myself when I had them. They just look like big round balls on my chest, and it just didn't look natural. It was very obnoxious, and I didn't even go that big. I just went my natural size. But now that I look back at myself, I'm like, what was I thinking? There's options. I'm not sure if we're ready for... Oh, yes, we are ready for our guest. I want to introduce our featherweight champion. She's a boxing champion. Her name is Stacy Reile. I really hope I said that right. Please forgive me, Stacy. I feel like the light is really bright.
It is really bright. I'm trying to...
I feel like I need sunglasses. Uh-oh, what's going on? Would clearly be hindering the overall health and athletic performance. Yes. In my honest opinion, I often wonder about Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate had breast implants put in, and I'm not saying her breast implants are excuse for some of her losses at all, but I have to wonder in the back of my mind if that didn't cause some kind of complication to her health or her ability that she had before the implants. You want to, I do have a website, or I do have a site where it lists the, excuse me, the chemicals that are in breast implants. And I often wonder, some of those losses from Miesha Tate, I have to wonder if, her breast implants had anything to do with it. I mean, it does weaken the immune system. It does weaken your body. And it's, she's one I've often worried about. And I really adore Miesha Tate. She's beautiful just the way she is, the way she was before. I'm not going to knock her because she went and got them done. I mean, we all did. We all thought that was the best route to go. And, obviously I wish the best for Miesha Tate, and I absolutely, absolutely adore her. And I really do think that some of her performance could have been from her breast implants. It's, and you think about it, like, I don't want to pop one, or I don't want to rupture one. And what if I get hit in the chest, or, if I pull too much, especially if they're under the muscle, it's really different. And it's a different feel. You don't have full access to your muscle as if you had your chest that was untouched and it was natural. So that's why I often wondered about Miesha Tate, and I shared that with Steve some time ago. What are my thoughts seeing big women boxing stars leaving the sport due to fighter inequality of pay? Well, this is what I'm going to say about that. I think it should be equal pay for men and women based off of their career, based off of their record.
I'm surprised it's not equal pay. That's kind of kind of funny. We have equal pay in just about everything else, but like mixed martial arts, like what? Doesn't make sense.
I would definitely say women need to stand up a little bit more, and they need to fight for their money. They need to fight for their equal pay. And if you're not going to give me equal pay, I'm not going to fight. Especially if you're a big time fighter, or if you're, getting in and they took you under their wing for UFC or Bellator. Like, come on, guys. We want equal rights. We want to be paid like some of the other, some of the guys. Come on. That's not fair. We kick ass just like any of the other guys. The guys kick ass, the women kick ass. Okay, so based on your performance and based on your criteria and your career and what you've done and how you promoted yourself, you should get paid. You should get paid the same. I agree with that. So apparently, Ala, Heather, Hardy, Clarissa Shields, Amanda Serrano are advocating for that and commend those women. You're going up against a male-dominated industry, and I think women should kind of kick their ass a little bit. Are we ready for my guest?
No clue where she is right now. I don't know. I'm not tell you. We had the time difference situated. I don't know what's going on. I'm just trying to figure it out right now. You guys are killing me.
That's okay. That happens. Maybe she got cold feet or.
No, I just went on her page. I think it looked like she had like some procedure done, and I don't know, just said like ow about like 2 hours ago. So I don't know, maybe she's in pain or
hope
something,
she's okay
or something like that. So I'm not really sure.
Look at Steve. Okay, so guys, I have to tell you, Steve called me. He called me. What was it? Earlier this year, Steve? Was it early this year? You were like, "Hey, Racheal, guess what? I got some good news to tell you." And I was like,
"Yeah, well, I mean, listen, you did a lot of fun stuff in the past, with your charity work and things that you've done within combat sports, and you always had a voice or something. So we thought it'd be fun to get you on here, especially talking about the other side of sports, and we got to get you out of your shell a little bit there. I know you're still kind of new to things, and I wanted to
we were the originators with the internet radio.
Yeah, but like I said, your story sitting there explaining a little bit about about breast implants, why they were bad. Like a lot of people don't really get what you went through, what athletes go through, and it's things like that. And I just thought that at least today, for what we're talking about, I think it's a unique thing. You as you touched on, like with Kat Zingano, she's recently had them removed, and it causes health issues in athletes long term, regardless of what we're talking about. And I know, it's a taboo thing because, like you said, sex sells and a lot more in today's sports, as we see with a lot of our athletes. They're finding any way to kind of approach their sexual prowess into the world. I guess we would say, we've seen that happen a lot, and it's not exactly a bad thing,
Oh, of course not. For the
I mean, listen, we all have, listen, we've gotten adults. We've gotten to the point where
who doesn't want to play with boobies? I'm just saying.
Wow. Of course you do. Of course you did. Nah, but really, I hope everything's all right with Stacy. It's
yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm so sorry. I was kind of looking forward to her.
Yeah, she came to me, had some things to say around the Roy Jones fight. I was interested to see what she had to say about that. So, but other than that, we're gonna be having some laughs on here, Racheal, right?
Of course. We're gonna talk about guns, and we're gonna talk about
all the fun stuff.
Yeah, Brazilian jiu-jitsu and black belts and being a bad motherfucking ass. Oh, did I say that? I said it.
Yeah, and speaking of which, your boy's here. Your second guest of the afternoon.
Stop it!
Now your first guest, so now you can introduce him, and I can.
All right.
Let's have fun with the
So
interview
he
process.
was going to be my second guest, but he's going to be my first and only guest. His name is Erik Purcell, and he's the owner of MMA Training Center, MPR Endurance, and MPR Tactical program based out of Langhorne, Pennsylvania. Ooh, Pennsylvania. There's a lot of talk about you right now. Erik is a first degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Japanese
Say that again. What was it?
Jiu-Jitsu. Ooh, that's a mouthful. Erik, come on. We would love to hear from you. Hey, Erik. I hope I did a good job introducing you. I just didn't want to leave anything out. You have such an exciting career. So many things to talk about with you. I'm so excited.
Thank you for having me. But with you guys, it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it.
Good. So,
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you and I can see. I need
sure.
to move my ball, my Santa ball. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me about your training center, and then we'll go into some fun stuff.
Yeah, so I've owned NPR Endurance for about 9 years, almost going on 10. And we train a lot of professional fighters. We have a lot of professional athletes. But more importantly, we train a lot of great people here in Langhorne and all the surrounding areas. We teach them martial arts from little kids all the way up to, as old as you can step on the mat. And we have a great time. And our primary goals are to teach self-defense and promote a love of martial arts from the little kids all the way to the adults. And then, of course, we have professional fighters and amateur fighters. So their goals are our goals as far as how far they want to take their careers, whether that's in combat sambo. We have a lot of the USA team trains out of our gym. So we do a lot of traveling for that, and then with our other professional fighters as well. So we're just always running around mixing it up. And then we just recently started our NPR tactical program, which is something that we're all extremely excited about.
I'm excited too.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. So it takes everything we're doing self-defense wise and really ramps it up. And now we have a legitimate full self-defense program from everything from unarmed combatives all the way up to tactical training. So it's a lot of fun.
That's exciting. So how did you get started in all of this? How old were you when you first started?
So I started wrestling when I was in 9th grade here in Pennsylvania, and went all the way up through high school. And right after high school, I got into sports sambo. I'm not sure if you guys know what sambo is, but we
Go
do
ahead
that.
and explain that to us. Definitely different.
Yeah, so sambo is one of my first loves. Sports sambo is a combination of, it looks like judo / wrestling. It's one of the biggest sports around the world, just kind of not here in the United States. And then we also have a version called combat sambo, which most people know Fedor Emelianenko and Khabib and all these professional killers and UFC and other fight promotions. A lot of those guys are combat sambo world champions. And combat sambo looks like MMA. However, it's a little bit more fast paced. They're headbutts and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, we are the United States Training Center for sambo out of NPR Endurance. So we have a lot of people that come and join up with us from across the country for the United States team, for the USA team. And so I'm fortunate where I get to travel and coach, and we get to compete around the world. So that's a blast. And I got into jiu-jitsu probably around like 1998, 1999, and started competing back then as well and having a lot of fun with that, and began fighting, and it's just been a whirlwind of just nonstop getting punched in the face, punching other people in the face, and all that good stuff for the last almost 3 decades now. Yeah, so it's a blast.
That's always fun. Who are some of the guys you trained?
Yeah.
Who have you worked with before?
Well, Zu Aniamu, who was in We got him in the UFC for a brief period. Patrick Sabatini is one of the biggest regional fighters. We're ready for the next step up to the UFC. I guess those are probably my two most prominent MMA fighters, but we have a lot of other great professionals on the rise, and we have a great young amateur team as well. And then our combat sambo team as well. We've for the United States, at least, we've medaled from everywhere from the World Cups and the President's Cups and around the world. We're really lucky. Our gym's been kind of featured to, as far as using or having the most amount of United States sambo athletes. So typically when we go compete, a lot of our combat sambo team happens to be fighters directly out of our gym as well, which is something I'm extremely proud of.
That is a huge.
Yeah, so it's just we do it all. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's a huge accomplishment, I tell you. I'm looking at all the weights back there. I'm like, I told Steve, I said, I'm going to have to come to Pennsylvania a lot sooner because I've checked out. I told you I was stalking your page last night. And so I was looking at all the amazing things you have on there. And the kids, oh my gosh, I'm huge with the kids. I did the Blaze
How
Kids.
cute are they?
And I have a nonprofit for those guys. And oh my gosh, I saw the kids and I'm like, I've got to go. I've got to come visit there. And but you don't.
Yeah, anytime.
This is not the only thing you do. What else do you do?
He's
I
like,
don't
I'm like, should I tell them what I do?
know. Yeah. I usually,
It's a secret.
don't tell policy, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where you're going. We do a lot of different things. We've got a great gym, great coaches, all that kind of stuff. And then with our tactical program, we do where we train a lot of law enforcement, and that's something we're extremely proud of, making law enforcement more efficient and better at their jobs, and as well as other law enforcement agencies. I don't know, where else you going? Well, I don't know. What were you looking at? You tell me.
I was interested in
You saw him there?
We had a conversation about
my-
tactical and my guns
Oh, yeah,
and all
yeah.
my fun toys. And so
Yeah. I feel like I should almost be interviewing you with the
Yeah.
amount of firepower you have. It's pretty.
you don't
pretty
get too many
impressive,
women
pretty
who are
impressive.
really
Awesome.
interested in guns. I have to tell you the little small story. I was totally not interested in guns at all. I absolutely hated them. The kids never played with guns, not even water guns. I was like, absolutely not. They're dangerous. They're bad. But then you start meeting people that are gun advocates and, hey, you want to come shooting with me? And you're like, yeah, sure. So I go shooting. And then I'm like, I shot the 45 and I was like, ooh. I mean, that was exactly how my face went. It was like, ooh. And so I was super excited about it. I'm like, okay, the adrenaline is pumping. I want to shoot some more. And then I started buying. I bought my first gun, which was the Kimber 45, the Black Ice Rapide. Woo, that's a bad gun. I love her. She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's
Very
shiny.
You start naming them, having your favorites.
Yes.
Sitting around cleaning them. Blindfolding yourself, hanging from a bar upside down in the middle of the night, taking your guns apart, putting them back together for time.
I'm gonna time it
speed.
too.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
And you are the guy
Yeah.
to talk to about all the crazy stuff that's going on right now. Obviously, we want to be prepared. And we were talking about go bags. We were talking about, survival. I mean, being prepared for the whatever possibly could happen. And the way things are going, women need to protect themselves more so now. What do you recommend for women?
I get self-defense on two different fronts. I look at armed and unarmed, tactical fundamentals that I feel like people should know. Number one, I feel like everyone should know firearm safety, should know how to fire a gun. I believe that everyone should carry, especially women. I mean, especially, why not, right? And then in addition to that, I feel like everyone should also understand how to use these as far as self-defense goes, to be able to maintain space, not necessarily to fight, to punch or anything like that, but understand balance, understand you don't want fights to go to the ground, you want to stay on your feet. And one of the things that we do in our tactical program, we have a lot of fighters that come into our program even, and we have to retrain them actually really how to fight outside of the realm of sport. You know, a lot of people think just because you know how to fight MMA, you're ready for self-defense on the street. And while you are way more prepared than the average person, it's a different mindset in like a life or death situation or a fight situation, where you can't tap out and you don't want to go to the ground. You're not trying to get points and, you know, passing guard and all these other things. So really getting people to understand the speed and ferocity that these situations occur with when assault situations, and just getting them to understand them. Once you understand how these things kind of go down, it's a little easier to wrap your head around them to prepare yourself. But we do follow like an unarmed and an armed philosophy, because, you know, I've been fighting for a very long time and I know how to fight, and it's been a part of my life. It's second nature. However, you know, I'm not trying to fight someone with a knife or with a gun or, you know, anything like that. You know, I know the limitations of everything. And so I'm always carrying myself. I'm always prepared for situations. And I'm also prepared as well. It's just being aware of your surroundings. Also how to, you know, handle situations when they arise, as far as not making them worse, as far as maybe diffusing situations, which is always the best option. But then sometimes you can't do that, and you have to be prepared for whatever happens. So we just try to make sure that people really understand that fighting, self-defense is a lot different than everything that typically goes on in normal gym settings. You know, it's really serious, and you can't take these things lightly. It's important to train. It's important to wrap your head around how serious these situations are. And as a woman or let's say a man, if you're smaller, you know, you've got to be real about situations. You know, I'm 210 pounds. If I come up and grab you, you know, and you're 160 pounds even, you're in deep shit. You know, it's just the way it goes. So it's good to have a weapon to protect yourself against someone that's larger, because the fact of the matter is, there's a reason there's weight classes, and, you know, in MMA and all these sports. The bigger you are, typically the more of an advantage you have, and, you know, when it comes to grabbing someone and doing those things. So having a firearm and knowing how to use it levels that playing field a little bit. And it's just something as well where, you know, it's peace of mind. And in this crazy world and everything happening, it definitely makes me sleep a little bit better at night, knowing that I know how to operate my firearms and I know how to operate them pretty efficiently as far as like room clearing. I know what to do if someone, you know, broke into my house. I know, you know, where like if my kids were sleeping, I'm not going to go firing in their direction, you know, just going over all these situations and scenarios in my head. I had all my neighbors get together, and we had a big meeting when there were all the riots were happening at a more frequent state. And I brought them all together and I said, hey, look, you know, if people ascend on our properties here, it's very important that we establish what we need to do. And I said, number one, don't shoot towards any of our fences. You know, and they were like, oh yeah, really? And I'm like, yeah, because you'll know who's on the other side of the fence, and 556 and 223, they'll go right through your PVC fence, right through your house. I said, so rule number one, no matter what, we don't fire in the direction of anyone's houses if we ever had to in the event things were going down. And then, you know, and they're like, oh wow, yeah, I never thought of that. I'm like, all right, great, glad we're having this meeting, because I'm trying not to get shot by one of you, you know. So yeah, you know, but that comes down to, once again, it's all about preparation. And people think just owning a firearm is good enough. Like all of a sudden you have the magic antidote for an assault situation. You don't. You're just getting started. There are so many factors, things that you have to go over and learn to be efficient with them, which I'm sure you know about. It's Racheal, you know, with all the work you're putting in.
It's definitely a mental game. I mean, you have to have your mental game. You have to know when to use it, how to use it. I just did some tactical training, and I thought it was like, hey, I got this. And I mean, when he's telling you, okay, threat, you know, and you're like, he was doing threat blue, threat red, you know, and then you had to find those targets, and you're just like, oh my gosh, what do you do? So you have to have the mental game to be able to think straight and very clearly to instruction and aware of your surroundings. So it wasn't as easy as they made it seem when they ran through it themselves. So it's definitely a lot of technique that goes into it. And the mental game, you got to get the mental game right. Because if you don't, one small little mistake and that's your life. And I've learned quite a bit, and I watch a lot of videos. I watch like Tactical Carl and Black Rambo. He's crazy, but but you know, you learn a lot of things from, you know, you can watch video, but it's not the same as doing it and actually being in it.
Two separate things.
Yeah, and I mean, Dustin, he did some tactical training. And it was funny because we were kind of competing at the end with each other. I was on one side, he was on the other side. And I never actually hit a metal target before. So this was interesting. And so every time I heard the clink, I was like, hey, I got it. Clink. You know, I'm like, I got it. But these are small circles like this that you got to get. Yeah. And I have to tell you, the type of weapon and the gun that you use are huge and so key. And
your comfortability with it too. If you're really comfortable with that weapon, that's going to be the deadliest weapon you could ever, you know, have. You know,
it's definitely like I was telling you, I use my concealed carry. I am legal and legit. I am an NRA member, and I do have concealed carry insurance as well. I have a $2 million policy. I did the highest one. And I highly recommend that for everyone who gets involved with any firearms or concealed carry. Your FOI card here in Illinois, we have to have a FOI card. You have to wait 3 days to get your weapon. You have to do a clearance. And so I always recommend people to try different things. Go to the range and try different handguns and find the one that you're most comfortable with. Don't buy one just because it's pretty. Yeah. I did that once. But don't buy it. Right. Don't buy it because it's cute. Buy it for the performance and how it fits your hand. You know, are there other recommendations to add to what I said?
Well, number one, everyone needs to understand the law in your state.
Yes.
And probably even the surrounding states, which is extremely important. A lot of people, you know, having concealed carry is extremely important if you're allowed to do that in your state. So understanding the laws are very important. A lot of people know the laws and they don't understand the use of deadly force as well. And that's another area that you can get in trouble, or brandishing your weapon. And you know, so there are a lot of ways to get in trouble. So part of being a responsible gun owner is, once again, making sure that weapon is an extension of your body by getting your reps in, understanding how to use it, making sure you're comfortable with it. And then in addition to that, understanding the law, you know, because the last thing, you know, which would be very unfortunate, is for you to defend yourself in your home or in your property, and unfortunately make some mistakes and hurt somebody that maybe doesn't deserve to get hurt, or obviously get yourself arrested, and get yourself in trouble. So those are the big things. When I'm around, like newer gun owners or people interested in owning guns, and even some people that have owned guns for a while that have just kind of had a handgun sitting in their drawer, and they really don't understand the laws, because the laws change as well too. So especially these days, where now potentially, depending upon whoever the president's going to be, however this works out, right? There's going to be some laws changing, making it tougher for gun owners. And that's just something that we're going to have to, potentially, hopefully we can overcome these things in court. And, but if not, these are things we're going to have to roll with, and we're just going to have to make sure that overall, you're able to keep yourself safe and out of trouble and not hurt anyone. I mean, that would be the worst,
right.
Is that, you end up hurting someone that's undeserving of that. Granted, if you come to my house and you pose a bodily harm or deadly, for using deadly force in my house, myself and my kids, I mean, I have no problem with doing whatever we have to
deciding
do.
to shoot somebody for not wearing a mask, that would be irresponsible.
That's extreme. That's extremely.
It's
extreme.
happened. It's happened.
Yeah. And there are some pretty wild people out there, and there are a lot of great gun owners, and there
Yes, absolutely.
are some knuckleheads too, and as trying to be responsible gun owners and understanding the value and the importance of gun training, tactical training, and those things, it's our job to help educate people as much as possible, so that if we have the more good gun owners we have, the less problems we're going to have with these random acts of stupidity or neglect, so as far as that stuff goes.
What do you recommend a good concealed carry weapon? What do you recommend? Is there a certain brand? Are there certain things you look for? So if I was a brand new person and I came to you in your class and said, I don't have a gun, but I have no idea what to get, what would you recommend?
Usually 9mm is probably one of the easiest things to go across the board, like a 9mm handgun. The 9mm are really nice because, you may take a couple shots to put somebody down, depending upon how well your aim is, of course, as well. But typically the recoil, you can kind of find like a decent mid-size handgun that's going to have a little bit more control when you fire. Sometimes if you get something that's too small, a lot of people think concealed carry, you want to get some kind of like little mini James Bond gun, you pull out, poof,
I have a couple of those.
However, those things are going to kick a lot more. There's less control over them. So if you have a small hand or smaller hand, bigger might be a little bit better as far as reducing the recoil. But really, it all comes down to what feels right in your hand. My first handgun I ever had, and I still use it for my concealed carry. I love it. It's a little big for most people, but it's a Springfield XDM, and there's a whole like 18 rounds, and it's a monster, and I love it.
That's funny.
It's just, I'm real comfortable with it. Yeah, the safety's in the grip. So when I grab it, we're ready to go. I don't even have to hit a button. Now, some people that might freak them out. They might want to have a button safety,
Yeah.
But once again, it really all comes down to it. Like what you kind of said, going to a gun range, rent some guns, try some
Highly
stuff out,
recommend it.
make sure it fits. It's really the same as going to a dealership and not test driving the car. I mean, the car might look great on the outside. When you sit in it, it might be uncomfortable and whatever the deal is, and with something like a firearm, something that you plan on carrying with you every day, you better fucking like it. Because if you don't like it, you're not going to carry it. And if you don't carry it, then what are we doing here?
I
right?
feel like the price of the gun too shouldn't matter too much. As long as you're comfortable with it, don't go and get the most expensive one, but don't get the cheapest one either. Just because it's don't do it based off of price. Do it off of comfortability. How you perform with it.
Yeah,
that's it.
I have a concealed carry weapon here. I'll show it to you real quick.
Which one is this? The 45?
So,
Word.
This is my concealed carry, but she looks
all right.
Amazing. This is the STI Staccato.
Yeah.
The C2.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So
is it loaded?
It's hard to do. No, it's hard to do when I'm going to take my.
Yeah, take them.
For some reason, I just want to show you. You always want to clear your weapon, right? There's nothing in there. It's clear. Oops, sorry. But this is my weapon. This is what I conceal every day. And the reason why I like it is because it comes with 3 mags. It comes with the extended mag. And I can carry 17 in there. A lot of people are like, well, you should only be able to just carry 7 or 8. But with the way things are going right now, you might need a little extra because you might have to battle a few extra guys instead of just 1 or 2 guys. And if you're not quite accurate, this 17 comes in handy. So this is my favorite gun, and this is what I took for tactical training. And the reason why I picked this gun was it is extremely accurate. Not only is it made in Texas, because I love Texas, but it is extremely accurate. It feels good on my hand, and I can actually it feels like a full size, but it's not a miniature one. I have the miniature ones, and the miniature one that I have is a Kimber, and I tell you what, it's snappy and I don't like it. This staccato, no recoil. None.
Yeah.
I have no issues shooting this gun. I have no issues pulling it out of my holster. And that's another thing that I would recommend is when you do pick out your gun and you do find the right holster, which took me a while to find the right holster, that you want to be able to practice drawing your weapon and being able to do it quickly. So I tend to practice in my bedroom sometimes. You know, you just want to pull it out of, you want to be able to pull it out of your holsters. So you want to get used to the fact of like, you might have to hold your holster and then pull it out, or, you know, any kind of situation. Is that a good thing to do, is to practice? Okay, I know this is going to sound really strange, pulling it out and aiming, practicing.
There's no such thing as too much practice.
Yeah.
What do you do if you don't practice?
Yeah, I mean, you should practice a lot. Yeah, and so, I usually I have two different concealed carry holsters because I'm in sweatpants a lot,
which most women are, leggings, sweatpants,
athletic pants. Yeah, exactly. Which is one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up. So I have one of those really tight Velcro, holsters that forms to your body and goes all the way around with Velcro, and you put your gun in. Now, that works really well when I'm in my exercise equipment and things like that. However, it's not a good pull, put back in, put back in, but it gets the job done when you're wearing sweatpants.
I think Dustin asked, is it a belt or is it a holster?
Some heavy, okay, so it's like, have you ever seen the belly waist trimmers people put on? So it's this big black belly trimmer, and people put them on to lose weight. It literally looks like one of those, but it holds a gun and maybe an extra magazine. And so that way, if you have sweatpants on, it doesn't clip to your sweatpants. It doesn't pull your pants down or anything like that. So usually what I do, I recommend women a lot that come to me and ask hey, what should I get in the summer and spring? That's usually a go-to. Now, however, now that it's wintertime, maybe you want to carry the gun in your purse, or maybe you do have a coat, or you have normal pants that you could get an inside of the belt holster. So I use a couple different ones depending upon what my wardrobe is, essentially. But the belly ones are really nice. You can get them on Amazon. They're like $20, and they're pretty universal.
I really like
those.
I really like the leather ones. I'm not a big fan of the hard, chunky. I don't know why. I've always liked the leather. I don't know. Maybe that's the cowgirl in me, or the wannabe cowgirl. So, but I feel more comfortable with the leather. But over time, I do notice that the leather can, you'll have to buy another one eventually over time because they do stretch out. It's leather.
It doesn't scrape up your gun too. So that's nice.
And I do like that because I'm very this is crazy. I'm very anal when it comes to, oh my gosh, there's a spot on my gun. I need to quickly clean it. Just like
how guys are with shoes.
Yeah, it's okay. You guys like your cars and your Hot Wheels, your tires all nice and greased up and pretty. I like my gun to be all pretty and but I forget that it's a weapon. It's to defend myself and protect myself. So it's not always going to be pretty. Cleaning, I have to tell you, cleaning has been an interesting thing for me. So I have several different types of guns, big guns, little guns. I've got a lot of guns. So I find some of them are super easy to clean and some are not so easy to clean. Like the Kimber, they're not easy to clean.
45s in general usually aren't that easy to clean. But
no. Any recommendation for those that I guess there's just no way of getting around of cleaning a difficult gun. I guess so. From what I'm understanding, the more you use it, the more you clean it, the more it gets broken in and it becomes easier. Is that true?
Usually that's the case, and that's part of firearm safety as well. Like one of the first things that we teach when we have people come in for our tactical training is, you know, we never let them bring any ammo in to the building, but they bring their guns in. We inspect them, make sure that, you know, they're not loaded. You know, because you never know. Newer gun owners, and they're just unsure of how to clear their weapons or anything like that. So what we do is we inspect everything, and then we start to teach them how to take it apart and what some of the names of parts of the guns are,
Yes.
you know, kind of the important stuff, just to develop some gun familiarity. And then sometimes we'll work on cleaning a little bit, but we work on taking the gun apart, putting it back together, take it apart, put it back together, take it apart, put it back together. Then we work on active loading, reloading, sometimes administrative loads, where we top it off with an extra round in the chamber after the magazine's already full. So we do different things just to, once again, just to teach them weapons awareness so they understand their firearm inside and out. Once again, the more it becomes an extension of them, the better they're going to feel with it, the more comfortable you are with it, the better and more efficient you are going to be with it. So taking your gun apart and all that stuff is very important. Breaking it in, and the more you do it, it gets better or gets easier. And there are a lot of great videos out on YouTube where you can find probably your exact make and model gun and watch people take them apart, put them together. And I highly recommend people do that. And we practice drawing from conceal. We practice. So I carry a lot of different ways, primarily conceal, but when we do our tactical training, then I have usually a handgun on my hip. Then I might have like an AR, and then maybe a handgun somewhere else on me as well. So what we do is we practice, once again, our concealed carry stuff where we wear like our normal clothes, lift our shirt, you know, draw maybe from an appendix holster or wherever your holster's at. Then what we'll do is we'll do tactical draws as well, where we have our belts on, maybe our vests and plate carriers and all that stuff with all of our equipment and all the heavy stuff. Yeah, and then then we work on all that as well. So just familiarity is everything. Speed's very important, and it's just overall efficiency. You know, is key.
What if you don't mind me asking, what is the law out there in Pennsylvania? I know here we have to have a FOI card in order to purchase a firearm, and in order to carry on your person a loaded gun, you have to have the concealed carry here. What is it there in Pennsylvania?
So we're an open carry state actually here, which means, yeah. Now in Philadelphia, it's not though. So this is what's weird is in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, we are an open carry state. However, Philadelphia does not want you open carrying. So they will present some problems for you if you went to the city limits open carrying. So we do have concealed carry permits.
Okay.
So typically to buy a gun, all you have to do is go to your gun store, whatever, and fill out paperwork. You do a quick background check, which usually takes about 15 minutes. And as long as you pass, boop, there you go. There's your gun. Now to conceal, it's I think like $35 for your concealed carry permit. And some places you can get it the same day.
Oh my God, Illinois is such a ripoff. You have to, in order to purchase a firearm, of course, it only takes me 5 seconds to get my background check. But then you got to wait 72 hours to take your weapon home.
Yeah.
Illinois is terrible.
Yeah, not here. Now we have different laws where you have to get like tax stamps and do certain things for suppressors, silencers, and other.
You can have those there?
Other. Yeah. Yeah.
So Illinois is not the fun state.
Well,
we're being ripped off here.
Yeah.
And it's like $300 for your concealed carry.
I didn't know it was that bad.
Oh wow, yeah, we're like $35, I think, and yeah. So now, and one of the reasons earlier I said understand the state laws and understand maybe the surrounding laws for neighboring states is because, however, New Jersey, which is we are about 10 minutes away from New Jersey, like our gym.
Okay.
So it's very common for us to, you know, we're constantly going over back and all those things. However, you do not want to take your gun to New Jersey. New Jersey is very strict gun control and gun law, you know, policies across the board, and you will get fined. I believe it's for every bullet you have in your gun, or it might be like a hollow point. If you had, so let's say you have a handgun, you have hollow points, and you travel to Jersey. Every bullet you have, I believe, is $1,000 they fine you for.
That's ridiculous.
And I'm sure I'm screwing that up a little bit, so I'm sure there's going to be
No,
some
that
people
sounds familiar.
texting exactly what it is. But whoever knows exactly what it is, feel free to comment and correct me. So the big thing is we train we train a lot of law enforcement in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and the big joke is just don't ever take your guns to New Jersey, ever, because it can be a little tough on you. So, but in Pennsylvania, everything's pretty relaxed here. So you have your concealed carry, and so once again, open carry as well, with the exception of Philadelphia, as far as that goes. So it's pretty relaxed here. However, I feel like the mood is changing in Pennsylvania a little bit, where it's becoming a little bit more liberal. And with that, who knows how much longer our gun laws are going to look the way they do.
Well, I'm going to be quiet.
Scary.
Because if it goes the other way that we don't want it to go, we might not have any guns. I'll tell you what, I've talked to so many people, and a lot of people have said they're not giving up their guns irregardless. If they try to come and get their guns, it's over. They're not going to give them up. I don't know. I'd like to know what your thoughts are with what could potentially happen if it goes that way. Do you think Americans are going to be, hey, here's my guns, or do you think there's going to be a fight?
It's tough to say. I mean, the last thing we want to do is end up in a situation Canada's in with, I believe they have a buyback program. And, and what a lot of people don't understand is we have this great thing called our Constitution and the Bill of Rights, which protects people here. All of these other countries, in Canada, they don't have free speech. In England, they don't have free speech. People think that they have free speech. You get arrested for making statements in all of these other countries. Our Constitution and the Bill of Rights is there to really protect the people. And when I was younger, one of my friend's fathers, who I looked up to a lot, he was a police officer and all of these things. But he was a kind of a really old school guy, and he used to say, hey, we need to have our guns, and one day, we may need them if the government ever comes after us and tries to take our guns. And I used to look at him like he was insane. I'm like, the government is never going to come for your guns. They're not going to do this. It's outrageous to me. Fast forward, leading up to this year, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to come take your guns.
Yeah.
Like, wow, it's actually truly going to happen.
Yeah.
So, a couple of things that I can maybe recommend is, it seems like they are specifically, and everyone knows this, they target rifles and ARs and things like that. However, rifles only make up for about 4% of gun deaths. And
yes, that's correct.
Most of the guns that cause death are handguns, and they're not really looking to take handguns away. It's a PR stunt, and it's an agenda to take the guns out of U.S. citizens, so we can't fight back if we ever needed to fight back. It's as simple as that, and it sounds so 1777 to say, but the fact of the matter is, it's true.
It's so true.
So with that being said, there are a couple ways you could potentially look to get around things like that. Number one, I feel like people need to make sure they're educated on the gun laws in their states and even nationally, and vote for the right people to put in office that understand how important it is to own firearms for protection. And if people didn't see the importance of having ARs and magazines that hold 30 rounds, with all this rioting and looting going on, I mean, what am I going to do with a handgun, with like a 6-shot revolver with a crowd of 200 people? They're going to have me trying to hurt me. People getting hurt.
They're in one line.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's a reason why, it's important to have these magazines. And what they're going to do is they're going to start going after banning these magazines that hold all these rounds, in addition to ARs and all of those things. And one other thing too about, the gun death rates. A lot of the death rates from gun violence, a lot of it, as well as suicide. It's not even necessarily like someone killing another person. And all of these things need to be taken into consideration. If you want to really look at ending gun violence, it's not just banning ARs. That's not actually going to do anything for you. We need to take a real step-by-step measure on, okay, let's look at the numbers, let's look at the data and figure out a better way to do this. Some people believe in ghost guns. And I don't know if that's something that, you guys have heard of, but that's something that's very popular right now. And pretty soon those are all going to be banned, I'd imagine. I just read an article that the ATF just rated, polymer 80 or 80% arms or something like that. One of the,
I heard about that. Yeah.
And so if you do want to get firearms, which if you would like to have firearms that don't have serial numbers and registered, that are legal, and these are all legal right now, you can go out and purchase things like that. And what you do with those is they basically send you a hunk of metal or plastic that's semi-made into a lower, and it's your job to route out the rest of it, drill the holes, and do all that stuff, and then you have a usable lower firearm for whatever kind of weapon you're using, and it's not trackable or traceable. So if maybe, if Uncle Sam does come knock on your door, maybe it's something that, isn't something that, that they're going to take.
Uh-oh. We had a little pause there. I was like, wait a minute.
Okay, I got you.
Like, wait, what?
I was saying, like,
it's the government.
We lose.
That's
I
something
know,
about ghost
right?
guns.
We can't talk about guns. Shh. Don't say anything.
Yeah,
I'm
they
a
got
little
me.
stuffy tonight. But so do you get a lot of women that do your class? So is it more men, or is it a nice group of an even amount of male, female?
It's a pretty good mix. Yeah, it's a pretty good mix. I would say we're about maybe 40% women, 30, like higher 30s to 40%, which is a pretty good number considering. And so we have some women that are female police officers, and then we have some female fighters and just women that want to learn self-defense as well. So it's kind of across the board. We have a nice healthy mix of people in our tactical programs.
Now I have to ask you, so with you training so many athletes, is there an athlete that you would like to work with and get that guy in and do some tactical training? Does he look like a natural, or does she look like a natural? I'm like, hey, come to my tactical class. Is there someone that you have your eye on, or that you would, hey, come to my class? Or any athletes you've trained in the tactical arena?
Yeah. So, I mean, we do get some people in every once in a while for our tactical training, some good fighters. And the only problem with a lot of fighters right now is they are in the middle of fighting, and they are a little bit more streamlined on their job and their task. So we can get them in for a class or two, but we have a problem with consistency, with constantly getting them in there and really learning some of these tactical systems from top to bottom. But the nice thing about working with fighters is usually they already have great instincts as far as these things go, and usually they're a little bit more cool and calm anyways. So the fighters usually do a pretty good job when we're running them through some of our room clearing, where we have all the lights off, we have people in rooms, and and you're pieing around corners and doing all those things. And we also do flashlight training, which is a really cool part of our training as well. Yeah, that's
That's the best.
that is so amazing, so amazing. So and it's really just fun working with everyone. Some people will surprise you as well too. Sometimes, occasionally we've had a couple people in our tactical program that didn't look like your fighters. They're kind of little like not these muscle-bound guys or women or anything like that, but just normal people, and they kill it. They crush it. Like you see them with a firearm, and they're walking around corners, and it looks like they've done it for years. So some people, that's kind of cooler to me, seeing people that that don't necessarily look the part, and then when they all of a sudden you walk them through the training a couple of times, and they look like they've been doing it for a very long time, and that's gratifying, because obviously with someone like that, maybe they're not a great fighter, so it's very important for them to have a little more skills as far as firearms or weapons training and things like that. But people surprise you all the time, and I kind of cut out expectations for people. I always just kind of say the cream will rise to the top. So no matter who we're training, I don't have any expectations for them, whether they're athletes or whether they're kind of new to things, whether they have great mobility or not. Some people are just fantastic. And some of the people that I watch and study, they're older guys as far as speed shooting. Some of the best guys in the world, are just like these average looking guys. And all of a sudden, they're putting rounds and targets faster than I can even compute it with my head. It's amazing. It's really cool, So that's the cool thing about weapons and firearms. They kind of limit they level the playing field once again, So you don't have to be this, someone born with this God-given talent and athleticism. That's fun, and that's nice if you are. Yeah, there you go. But general overall safety is important for everybody. So one day I know, I'm going to get a little older and a little slower, and I might have to rely a little heavy on my weapons training as well. But it's important for everybody as far as
I was told that the older we get, the better we are.
Yeah. The guns? You're talking about guns, right? Yeah. 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 Well, the big thing that you want to have, and some people have it naturally, some of the fighters are just kind of, they're less shaky when they're coming around the corners. Their heart rate's a little lower. They're a little bit more calm in these situations. So those are things you want to develop through training as well, and that'll get you good. The more calm you are, and the more, once again, the more comfortable you're feeling with your firearm, the more steady your hand's going to be, the better decision making you'll make as well. And yeah, so hopefully you do get better with age, with these kind of things as well. So it'd be cool.
I was giving us some hope there. I feel like I've got better.
Yeah, well, I believe that. Why not?
Exactly.
Why
right?
not?
This guy's, he's only 24, so he's just beginning. But let me tell you, Destin is a sharpshooter. He shocked me when he first shot. I was like, holy wow, he's a natural. Like he can I think he could do competition shooting. Like he's really good for somebody who's not, who just started out. And
do it.
Have you ever done competition shooting?
Yeah, do some competitions.
Yeah, competition.
No,
I heard
I'm
is
totally
awesome.
going to though.
Something interesting to do. I wouldn't mind doing it. I definitely wouldn't say no.
Yeah. It looks like so much fun. It looks like a blast, and I really love shooting my handguns. I consider myself to be pretty good with my handguns, so to get into some competitions would just be, I think, just an absolute blast. So we're in the process right now is kind of maybe getting our own gun range started and going, and our own tactical training course.
I'll come visit.
So
let us know when that.
Yeah, of course.
I'm learning about.
Yeah. We're building.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm in the process. We're gonna buy a lot of land. We're in the process of doing that right now, and on that land we'll have another gym as well, a pretty large training facility. In addition to that, we'll have some other fun stuff, but we're gonna have a tactical course and gun range on the property. So that way we can do full MMA, martial arts. We can also have a range anytime we want will be available to us as well. So those are things that I'm looking forward to, just being able to walk out in my yard and shoot anytime that I want, and hopefully get my timing better and my aim better as well, and have some fun with all that. So it should be fun.
That's awesome. I love it. So
Yeah, it'll be fun.
he's like, I just want to shoot things. I'm like, I'm waiting for the zombies to come out. I'm ready. I'm ready. I just got a Beretta 1301 shotgun, 12 gauge. I'm super excited. I haven't shot it yet.
It's extremely pretty. Extremely pretty.
She's tactical and she's amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't usually say guns are pretty.
That's cool.
Yes.
Shotgun's fun.
It's a pretty shotgun.
And then
Pretty.
I got the
Nice.
Bergara.
Yeah.
Bergara.
Yeah.
And that's long range. And so it's so funny. It's really long and it's super heavy. And I haven't even put the scope on there yet. So once the scope goes on there, I can't get the rail for it because everybody seems to be buying the rail for the Bergara. And so I can't put my scope on it, but I can only imagine that when I put my scope on it, it's going to be very much more heavier than what it is right now. But I like it because I can shoot long range, although that's not allowed here in Illinois either. They have this whole rifle thing, and even with the 12 gauge, like
Oh wow.
it's awful here. We live in a boring state.
It's very strict, so to speak.
Yeah, we can't do all the fun
Yeah.
stuff. Like it's hard to
Yeah,
find
that's
a
rough.
range.
We've got ranges.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, we've got like 300-yard ranges and all that stuff out in the woods. You know, you can go shoot at up to 300 yards. And, yeah, it's kind of fun
Yeah.
around here. Well, you know, we're not as cool as like Texas, you know, where you're like firing guns at the helicopters and things like that. But yeah, so it's
I would
not bad around
we
here,
would totally
so.
come out and visit and check it
Yeah.
out for sure. I want to ask you, Erik. So I didn't even get a chance to like check out any of the other social medias, or even do you have a fan page for your gym, or do you have Instagram? How do people find you besides Facebook?
We've got social media pages pretty much for everything. So for the gym, everything is just MPR, like Michael Paul Robert Endurance, or MPR_MMA for Instagram. So we've got Facebook and YouTube and all sorts of things like that. And all my personal stuff is usually just Erik Purcell, which is ERIK, maybe underscore Purcell, PURCELL. I'm pretty easy to find everywhere as far as anything on social media goes. But yeah, and there's a lot more insight. Like I post a little bit more maybe on Instagram. I'll take some pictures of some fun stuff, and I keep Instagram a little lighter because, you know, my kids are on there and all that. So so it's usually just kind of fun stuff on Instagram, or fun, cool stuff.
Now I have to
maybe.
find you on Instagram.
Then yeah, sure. And then
I had it.
what, like, so yeah, Facebook. So we're doing Facebook, right? So you saw me on there.
Okay.
And then that's where I got you on Facebook. And then so what else? Instagram.
Twitter.
We'll
Twitter?
do that. And then are you on like
I love Parlor.
So I just recently canceled Twitter. Yeah, so I'm on Parlor now, trying that out. Those and even on Rumble. So we have a tactical page. Rumble's a new one that people are doing. It's a video social site. And so we've got some tactical videos on there that are doing really well. And that's where we're going to start putting like a lot of our tactical information. Yeah, so Rumble's pretty cool for stuff like that. So we're just trying out some of these new platforms as well and seeing where we want to put some of our time and energy as far as those things are concerned.
I do have one more question. I just got a Safe Life. I got the tactical belt, and I also got the body armor. I did not get the rifle plates yet. I'm getting that hopefully next month. But what do you think about that brand? I just want to know because I feel like the tactical belt that I got it's super round. My body is not super round. So when I put it on, I have like this big huge space gap like in the back. So
It's also pretty stiff too.
it's very
You
stiff.
gotta work it a little bit. I think.
Have you ever?
Yeah, they're supposed to be real. Yeah, they're supposed to be real stuff like that. 'Cause you have the
Yes.
two belts with it,
Yes.
right? You've got like the Velcro inside lining, and then the one that goes over the top. So yeah, they're made to be really rigid like that. It's just something that's, hopefully it fits you, but that's just something you just kind of have to get used to, really, because typically with your tactical belt, you might have a flashlight on there and
Yes.
handgun and your magazine holders, depending upon how you like your setup. Maybe you might have a kit on there for first aid. So you're going to have some heavy stuff on there eventually. Maybe
Down when you go to.
for some people, they might even have like handcuffs and
Oh, go ahead.
taser. I mean, yeah, who knows? So yeah, those belts they're supposed to be notoriously rigid and they will loosen up a little bit. But big thing for you as well too is figuring out the kind of setup that you want. I try to wear lots of different things where I'll wear my plate carrier, my plates, my tactical belt, and then see how I like to have everything arranged, where my hand placement is. Sometimes we have too much stuff. Like if you already have a plate carrier, you may not need so much on your belt because then it might scrape and catch when you're moving around. Then you have to look at things like, are you ever going to be in a prone position, like lying flat down, maybe like you're on your stomach firing? Do you want to have stuff in the front? Do you even want a handgun on your belt? If you are going to be in the prone position, if you're going to be going through the mud, you might jam, you might get dirt, mud in your gun, which also goes back to choosing your handgun as well. You might want to choose, if you're going to be crawling around through the mud and doing things like that, you may want to get something like a Glock, something a little bit more durable, something a little bit more, you get it wet, you throw it around, you beat it up, and it's still kind of like a tank, it's still going.
I heard about the Glock.
All that stuff. Yeah, I just built a couple nice like Glock handguns, 2 Glock 17s, and so I'm taking them out to the range this weekend to fire them for the first time. So hopefully they don't blow up on me, but it should be like a lot of fun. Looking forward to that.
I have to tell you, there's a really pretty Glock that they just came out with. It's rose gold and it has flowers on it. And I was like, oh, I really like it. I'm not a big Glock fan, but I was like, I might want to buy that one. Have you seen that one? It's so pretty. Okay, I know this is impractical.
No,
You just got to say
pretty.
don't buy it because it's pretty.
Yeah, it's, well, hey, if you like it, do what you got to do. So my Glocks are, I'm looking forward to, like I said, hopefully these things fire and, hopefully they fire well. And so I'm looking forward to, having my first Glocks ready to go. So I'm looking forward to see how I like them in comparison over longer use compared to my Springfield. So
I would definitely like to invite you back when I have the round table. I was telling you about that. I'd like to have a round table show where we talked about, we'll talk about body armor. We'll talk about go bags and what to pack in them and your, oh my goodness, survival techniques. I mean, people have no idea. We have become so dependent on the way we live and not have learned to live off the land and how to survive off the land without our shelter, our home. People have no idea what it's like to have to be on the run or have to leave their home in a hurry, and you might have to sleep outside, and you've got threats coming at you. I mean, I would love to have you on the round table.
Yeah, that'd be great. It'd be a lot of fun. Yeah,
It would definitely be.
look forward to that.
I'll have some show and tell stuff, and I'm hoping that everybody at the round table will have some show and tell stuff, because there was a lot of stuff I didn't know, and I'm not going to say just because I'm a female. No, I think the average individual doesn't know, and I had to do a lot of research, and even so, I really wanted to find the best stuff. I didn't want to find something that was cheap
Yeah.
and not durable. So a lot of people will go for price. And so we'll talk about that with the round table. And I'm so thankful to have you on the show today. If there's anything I can do for you, please let me know.
Yeah.
Destin and
And I
I are
definitely want to say
appreciative.
thanks for hopping on too.
Oh, Steve.
Hey, my pleasure. Yeah. This is. I could talk about this all day. As a matter
I
of fact, that's all we
know.
do.
This is
You know,
the
we sit here,
best.
me and my trainers, and
Like
it's
pick a weekend.
Yeah,
and
we-
go out there and check you out.
Oh.
It's one of the reasons why we kind of want to give Racheal kind of this platform so we can kind of have these conversations that people need to have, like that are also involved in kind of sports and media and combat sports alike. So
Yes. So I'm hoping.
and we also
Yeah,
got women, and we also got Tori in the chat hitting on Erik.
Victoria Taylor said he got a
What's
great
that?
smile, though. You got a fan club
Victoria,
over
how you
here.
doing?
That's awesome, Victoria.
All right.
And Vicky's like, hey, this is the type of shit I like to
Hey,
say.
how you doing?
This is the type of shit I say. I love you, Victoria.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to have you on the show, girl.
Yeah, definitely. But what to give Erik,
Part of the round table.
hey, yeah, exactly. You guys all listen. There's plenty of room to have discussions on. Don't matter if we're on here, we're spitting fire or Racheal Blaze, or
Yes.
we're on here with other programming that we have on here. So we're here to have some fun. And
What a great smile. Keep smiling there.
How could you not smile right now? You know, this
Exactly.
is a blast. It's good stuff.
So I'll definitely I'll definitely let you
Yeah,
know the date of the roundtable show. I have to get a couple other guests to respond, but
Great.
at least a few other people, and we can do some show and tell. If you wouldn't mind, maybe showing us a couple of techniques or something. You have somebody with you, and you can show a couple of your techniques to maybe a little self-defense moves or something like that, just to see. That would be great. I mean,
That'd be pretty cool.
shut up, Victoria. I can already hear what you're thinking. Okay.
Well, what, like right now?
Well,
was
if you
gonna
want to
say.
do it right now,
Volunteer.
Victoria said she'll volunteer.
my volunteer is tribute
Funny.
in my Jennifer Lawrence voice.
That's awesome. Well, we
Oh,
do.
goodness.
So we have a lot of great technical things up on our YouTube page for NPR Endurance, and we have some gun disarmament drills and some things like that work really well. And there's a gentleman you'll see. He's one of the heads of our NPR tactical program. His name's Bob Clark. He's the combatives instructor for the state of Pennsylvania. He's in the FBI, military, Philadelphia police. You name it, the guy does everything. So everything this guy shows you it's tried and true, 1,000%. So anything you see with me and my partner Bob Clark, and we also have another guy, Johnson Jajut, who is amazing as well. So the three of us run the NPR tactical program. Johnson Jajut is even more into guns than I am. So
I don't even want to try to
teaches
say
me a
that
lot.
last name there.
Yeah.
Sounds
It's,
fun.
That's awesome.
One of the
Yeah, he's
many
Haitian.
reasons why back in the day I've never asked him
Yeah,
for
so
an
he's
interview
Haitian, so it's
because I
French.
did not want to try to pronounce that name. I already got myself kicked in the leg
Oh yeah, Johnson.
from not pronouncing names correctly, and I'm about to have Purcell on again too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so we've got some great people. And so any of those videos you see, if you guys want to work on anything or practice some techniques, there's some great stuff online and as far as all that goes.
Meanwhile, we're having a fight in
Eric,
the,
they're fighting over you.
we're having a fight in the chat room over Erik
Oh, God,
because they
I'm
want to be
dead.
the tribute.
Oh, no.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope you're not.
Come on out.
This is awesome.
Don't tempt
Well,
Tori. I'm
there you
pretty
go.
sure
Well, it
if
sounds like
if she finds the address, she might just wind up showing up there. I'm sure
I
of it.
know, right? At least I'll just stalk your Facebook page.
well, it sounds like we'll have yeah.
Well, I will try to find you on
NPR
Instagram.
Ranch when that gets built. It sounds like so. We'll get everyone out.
Yeah,
That would be
exactly.
awesome. I actually told Steve that I was. Well, I don't know how. I don't know how this is going to go for next year. I am definitely sorry, Thomas, but I'm not getting vaccinated. But if I have to, I will drive. I don't know if I'll be able to fly, but I told Steve I want to come to Pennsylvania and I want to stay out there for a week and maybe take the show remotely and do it out of your gym would be cool. I'll drive. I don't know how long it takes to drive, but I'll make that drive.
It's like 8 hours, I think.
I think it's a little bit longer. It's not too bad. Okay. So it's doable. But yeah, I would love to come out there and visit and maybe have the show remotely at your location and we can do some well, not me, but our whoever, Victoria.
I volunteer.
Right. Go over some self-defense and stuff. I can do an arm bar. I can,
Rachel's playing coy when she knows I can put her on Front Street, but that's all right.
Oh no.
You're so comical, but
well, once we get this ranch built, we're gonna have a lot of places to stay on the property. We're gonna have a lot of like little individual apartment types, little setups and stuff like that.
You're also working
once we get up and running. It's gonna
is that something you're also going to work in for your fighters too? Is that something you're also like you're sitting there saying you're gonna do the ranch? You're gonna do something that like work that in with like some of the fighters who probably like you know how it is for not a lot of people know, but like us in this group, they're like it's rough for a lot of these athletes sometimes to do what they need to do and get everything done the way they need to do. I know the type of man you are, so.
Oh yeah, well thanks. Yeah, it's with our current gym is we're around 8,000 square feet and here like NPR, so we're a pretty large facility. But with the pandemics or whatever, we have no idea, what's going on as far as how long we'll be open or we who knows. But on our own property, we're going to have a state-of-the-art facility that's going to be around 4,000 or 5,000 square feet on the property. We'll have it fully matted. We'll have everything there as well. So in case everything ever did get shut down across the country, we're going to have our own property to keep the ball rolling, to keep training. So none of that will ever stop. So essentially the brand is going to kind of go on and live forever on the ranch. So no matter what happens, no matter who the governors are, the mayors, the president, none of that's going to matter. So we'll be able to shoot guns, ride quads, beat each other up, do some MMA, do some sambo. There's going to be saunas, jacuzzis, fire pits, bungalows. It's going to be.
There you go.
I'm going to vacation.
It's going to be a blast. It's going to be like a lot of fun. So we're really looking forward to it.
Is there free food? No, I'm just kidding. Is the food included?
Yeah. Well, you can shoot your own food out there.
Oh, that's even better.
If you know how to skin a deer.
Okay.
But we'll probably have some chickens out there and little goats. And,
I can't do the chickens. I can't do the chickens.
Yeah.
Well, definitely looking forward to that part of it, Eric. Can't wait to see when you're back on here again, and definitely let us know when the ranch is up and going. And I'll definitely be in contact with you soon. Hopefully, we get some of your other fighters on, and we can get you on some other programming on here.
Yeah, that would be great.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah, it'd be fantastic. I look forward to it. So yeah, it'd be very cool.
You are awesome. Like, I'm so excited about your aspirations and all the things you're doing. Like, this is so exciting. This is exciting. Bed and breakfast. That's what you can add to it. There we go.
Thank you. Yeah. That's in guns. Yeah. Yeah. It's croissants and firearms. We're gonna.
Oh my gosh! Wait, can I give you one very quick suggestion? Okay, I don't know who it was. It was a fighter. I don't remember. It was Instagram, and I was just whoo 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 whoo. And so I saw, and he had a picture. He had this thing made. It was like oh my god! I think it was copper or something. It was this big. Instead of a jacuzzi, it almost looked like a teepee formation, upside down, and you get to go in this water and. The fire is underneath this thing while you're in the water and it bubbles like.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yes, that is the coolest thing ever. So you got to have a few of those.
Like a giant pot.
So we can try those out.
So you want me to cook my fighters essentially?
Yeah.
Throw some potatoes in there and onions.
But it'll be really relaxing.
I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was the coolest little thing. I'm like. I want one of those. But I mean, I wouldn't want to sit in the middle. The middle is where the fire is.
Yeah, they have they have like these aluminum warmers for like because I'd like to have some not like jacuzzis, but the big wooden kind of jacuzzis built, and then you drop these aluminum kind of like little mini fire burning, wood burning holders in them, and you can sit there while you're chilling in the water. And so those are some things I'm going to look at getting. But yeah, you're definitely not over top of it. It's just kind of on the side of the jacuzzi or whatever you're using to and things like that. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to have a bunch of stuff out there. So as soon as throughout the month of January, and you'll probably see a couple of posts popping up, like here I am at the property, and then all of a sudden the building's gonna begin, and it's gonna be a whirlwind.
That's awesome. Well, I look forward to it. And I thank you for coming on the show, and you definitely heated up the show today with
oh boy,
they're fighting. Stop it, you guys. But I appreciate you coming on.
Keep fighting.
Yes, yes.
Everyone wants to have people fight over them, so please don't stop ever.
That is so true.
Keep it going.
But thank you for coming on Spittin' Fire with Racheal Blaze and Dustin.
That was
or Tarzan. Yeah, Tarzan.
Thanks, Dustin. Thanks, Racheal, and yeah, Steve. All you guys. Thank you very much for having me. And I'm down anytime. Just let me know.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye-bye. And there you have it, guys. Guess number 1 and 2.
And the last one.
And wait, he's still on and he's still smiling.
Okay, so
I'll kick you out of here.
Yeah.
We'll get you over here, brother.
That's awesome. Oh my God. Hi, Brian. Thanks, guys. This is going to be a wrap up. This is a wrap. It's time for me to eat. My muscles are famished right now.
Let's go to 12.
No. Steve's probably tired of us anyway. All right, you guys. I'll check you out next Friday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Sorry for the mix-up, folks. See you later.